kind of monster you take me for?
I know
But
it.
in order to have forgiveness, you must first see the light.
This episode is called Death Will Bring Death, and it reads, River plays a dangerous game of chess to remove Dikhan from power, and Ruth must stop a distraught mother from trying to escape the compound with her daughter. Oh yeah, family, let's get into this one. This one was definitely a wild one. Let's do it. So where did we leave off? We left off where we see Scumbag Manny and your boy Dikhan have taken out all of the wounded that will never ever come back. And here comes Ruth. She walks in the door, surprised as to what is going on, as to what she sees, and she is asking Dikhan, what the hell did you do? Of course, Dikhan is telling her, listen, you shouldn't be here right now. You should leave right now. Everybody wants Ruth to leave. Nobody wants Ruth to see this. And he walks up on her like, you really need to leave. You don't need to be here. Okay, of course, Ruth is going to stand her ground. She's not going anywhere because you know who she is, right? And here comes Scumbag Manny. Listen, I don't really want to hurt you, Ruth, but you heard Dikhan. Now, elder mother says, Ruth, look, see, it's okay, you know. They're going to the Raku. They don't have to suffer anymore. They are gone. So they're looking at Ruth like, hey, you need to bounce right now. There's a lot more we need to do. So she regrettably leaves the infirmary looking like she's about to cry. Of course, Dikhan, being the menacing Dikhan that he is, man, he just did some crazy stuff. Of course, here we are with Ruth outside and the rest of the ladies, and they're like, what the hell are you doing? And of course, Scumbag Manny's like, listen, this was ordered. I'm just following orders. And they look pissed off. They look angry. They look like they want to take down your boy Scumbag Manny. But he says, listen, I got to be here. I got work to do. Of course, everybody's upset. So Ruth goes to Zane and says, hey, listen, where is Sister Alex? And Zane doesn't really know what's going on. She doesn't really know. And then Ruth finally realizes, hey, Alex is going to do something crazy. Let me go get her. So she goes and she runs off to get Sister Alex. Zane, of course, is looking very concerned. Now here comes River walking up, smirking or whatever, smirking up and walking up to Peter. It's like, the highest needs to see me. He's like, F off. He's like, are you going to delay this? Or do you want to get in trouble? So River goes inside and he says, highest, you need me? He's like, yes. It's like, you're under a lot of stress. So River, of course, is like, hey, I will do whatever needs to be done. Your boy, the highest, knocks River on the ground. Now, here we see someone with an axe, and they are walking very fast, very furious. Who is it? Yeah, it is Sister Alex. And Ruth has to intercept Sister Alex because she has an axe and she's ready to chop up something and get her daughter to get up out of there. Of course, Ruth is like, that is crazy. That's dangerous. What's next? What happens next? Like, you're not really thinking. And she's really not. She's going off emotions. She's really scared. She's really angry. So Ruth finally gets her to give up the axe. Now, here we are with the sisters back at the infirmary. They're standing outside trying to find out what's going on. And Dikhan comes out, right? He's looking at the sisters because they're like, what is happening? He pulls Scumbag Manny to the side and said, listen, you need to get them out of here. We got a lot of stuff to do. Go get your men and go clean this thing up. But we got to get these sisters out of here. So Dikhan sends the sisters off and says, go back to your trailers. It is what it is. We're working over here. This is the work of the Raku. Zane is still standing there. She doesn't leave. And yeah, we see, yep, Sister Mary, man. Man, I know she's upset because she was trying to resurrect her other sister. And here goes Dikhan rolling up on Zane. Where is Ruth? Right? Trying to scare her, intimidate her. He has blood all over his face. Crazy, man. This one is a crazy one. Well, here we are. Andrew is back, and they put him back into the cell. Sheriff Conley's like, man, that was a long time. He's like, well, Andrew's like, I was milking it. Like I said, I was trying to get out there and find some information. And what happens is Andrew finds out that they just locked somebody up. Now, again, we know it's Keys, right? But he figures out, hey, man, they just brought in somebody, and I think they're part of the cartel from what he heard. He's like, oh, that's not good. They're both like, man, they both look depressed. They've been in there for a long time. Doesn't look good for both of them. They just got their heads down. What's going to happen next with them? Drop your comments below. Let me know. All right. So here we are. We are back in the trailer. Ruth is talking to Sister Alex, and she's trying to calm Sister Alex down. She's like, I know this is crazy. I know that, what's happening was wrong and everything else like that. And Sister Alex is like, yo, I thought this was a peaceful place. It's not. I want my daughter. I want to get out of here. And Ruth reminds her, listen, you got to remember, see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil, right? So she's trying to calm her down, trying to keep her safe, because if she does anything crazy, it's going to be bad. So here comes Dikhan. He's like, yeah, Zane told me that Sister Alex was a little under the weather, a little sick or whatever. And she looks fine to me. So he's like, listen, you're needed in the infirmary. So Sister Alex looks at Ruth like she's going to say one more thing, but she just walks off and goes back to the infirmary. Now, again, Dikhan is like, look, we're doing what we have to do, and he doesn't trust Ruth. And Ruth was like, listen, grow some balls. You shouldn't be questioning, whether we're, aligned with the Raku right now. He's like, I don't care what happened the other night. I don't trust you. So, your girl, Ruth, she's just like, me and my baby need to rest. The night, it's late. It's time to go, right? Of course, Dikhan, he's smirking or whatever. But again, Dikhan is playing with some crazy stuff right now. And I don't think he knows what's coming for him with everything that he has done. So here we are. It's the morning time. Your boy River is crouched up like a little baby in the corner of the couch. And here goes the the lowest, getting on this megaphone, talking to the entire Raku campus, talking, all his stuff, all his babble, you know how he talks. He's talking all of this mess about a new day and us sticking together and everything else like that. Even Ruth is just laying there in her clothes. Like, she didn't even take off her clothes, just laying there in the bed. She probably didn't even get any rest. But also the FBI is listening to this crazy babble coming from the lowest. Like, man, he's just going in, just going off or whatever. Of course, River's like, that was a great speech. River's just kissing his ass all the way from sun up to sundown, right? And yeah, he's like, yeah, that was a great speech, Your Highness. I would do anything to please you. He's just going along because he has no other choice. Like, he's back on the campus. Your boy, the lowest, took all his aggression and stress out on him. He tells him to get dressed and get ready for the day, to tell Ruth that he is hungry and he wants his food because he had a long night with River, right? River, again, is just kissing his ass and just really sucking up to the highest, whatever way possible. Of course, that's the only way he's going to survive. While we do feel bad for River, at the same time, he's doing this to himself. He's really doing it to himself as far as all of this. He didn't have to come back, but he stayed for Joan. He wants to get that money. But again, he is just really just like on the highest side and wants the highest to know he is rolling with him, right? All right, so now River limps out of the trailer because he was with the highest all night. And here comes Dikhan taunting River. River, yeah, good to see you. What a great Raku morning. And he's just like, listen, man, I'm sure the highest really took his stress out on you. He's like, I just want to let you know, this is the beginning, River. This is the beginning. He's really taunting and agitating River. And River's like, listen, I got to go tell Ruth to get the breakfast for the highest, right? Here we are at the FBI, and they're still outside of the campus trying to figure things out. They're like, yeah, we need to talk to the sheriff. We need to talk to Andrew. They're getting nowhere. They're not getting any answers, and they're trying to figure things out. So Desiree says, you know what? I'm going to go talk to, that person back there, we believe that she's cartel. We're talking about Keys back at the sheriff's department. So she's going to talk to her. But Desiree's like, keep an eye out on this reporter right here. He's like, oh, you care for her? It's like, yeah, nah, she just knows a lot. We need to keep an eye out on her, all right? Again, we're going to see something happen with them too. But now Kyle is in charge. And we know what happens when Kyle's in charge, man. So anyway, we go back to the kitchen. And we see Ruth is putting some stuff together. She gives the food to someone. And then here comes River. The highest would like his breakfast, right? She's like, oh, okay. And he's walking away. She's like, are you okay? He's like, well, he says, nothing for you to be concerned about. She's like, come on, don't act like I don't care. He's like, well, I was with the highest all night. So go figure what happened. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. Really don't act like I don't care because I do. So she's showing concern for River, but he doesn't believe her. Like, he doesn't believe because she's like, yeah, you're really out for yourself. You're really out for yourself. And, until you show that you're not out for yourself, it's like, yeah, she's still going to give him that attitude. So here we are. The highest walks out. He looks pretty refreshed or whatever. Dikhan welcomes him to the world. And he's like, yeah, how you doing? He's like, I'm doing great. How are things going? And Dikhan's like, you look, good. You look refreshed. You look happy. He's like, yeah, River definitely took care of me, all night long or whatever the case is, right? And so the highest is like, listen, what's going on with things? What's going on with the FBI? And your boy Dikhan has every opportunity to tell him that he received a call from the FBI, but he didn't tell him anything. He said, I think the sirens scared off the FBI, whatever the case is, right? So the highest looks happy. He looks like he's okay. But again, he's still concerned about the prisoners. He's concerned about everything still. So here we are with River in the infirmary talking to Joan. And he's like, look, I miss you. I cursed and, I F the highest. I let him F me all night and all this and that. Right? And so he's like, listen, I'm tired of this. I need those passcodes to the account that you set up in your name. And here comes Sister Alex creeping in with those towels, listening, ear hustling to this conversation. He's like, listen, I need the passcodes to that account with the money that you put in there. He's talking all loud, but he doesn't know that Sister Alex is ear hustling and listening to the entire conversation. So Joan grunts and moans. He's like, well, you want to tell me something? She's like, the passcode, no. And he's like, what? Passcode, no, right? So that must be the passcode. Or she's saying, no, I'm not going to give you the passcode, right? Either way, he just kind of leans back, looks at Joan, and then he walks out and leaves her there to try to recover. Again, Alex heard the entire conversation, heard everything that was going on. So she runs up on Ruth and is like, listen, I heard River talking to Joan in the infirmary, and they were talking about money and that they moved some money into an account. They got some money and all of this and that. She's like, what? What are you talking about? Of course, Ruth knows what's going on with River and that account and Joan, but she's playing it off. She's like, nah, I heard about it, and we can use that, and we can use him to get our babies out of here and all this and that. She's like, listen, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm going to find out for myself. And she's like, nah, we can use it against it. She's like, just think about it for a second. Does that even make sense, right? So Ruth is trying to play Alex because Alex found out, because River got a big mouth. And yeah, Ruth is just like, nah, that doesn't even make sense. What would they still be doing here if they had some money? She's like, I'm going to find out what's going on. Don't worry. Stay cool. Stay calm. Remember what we talked about. So here we are with Desiree. Desiree goes back to the sheriff's department and she is questioning Keys. She's like, well, that's your real name, right? And then she runs down that, Keys' mother died in a hit and run, that her father had pancreatic cancer. And she's like, listen, you was in the same jail as the highest. And now, who are you down with? Who are you connected with? And she's like, oh, it's just a coincidence, B.I., right? And she's like, you know what, man? People like you always talk, so I'm not even worrying about it. And then Keys starts to flirt with her. Oh, you look good and all this and that. Trying to make a pass at Desiree. She's like, you know what? I'm not even worrying about it. Eventually, you are going to talk, and we're going to find out what's going on. Again, Keys is sitting there in the jail cell. She's like, you know, Desiree's like, yo, your people are not coming for you, so we ain't worried about it. So here's River, right, with his I'm going to a meeting hands. And here is Sister Alex. Now, again, Ruth told her to stand down, but she rose up on River like, listen, I heard about you talking to Joan about money, and you guys got some money. Now, listen, if you don't want me to go and talk to the highest and tell the highest what's going on, I suggest you go get my baby, Olivia. He's like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, we trying to get up out of here. Why would you? This is your home. And she's like, don't BS me, River. You know, I know what's going on, and I will go tell the highest. In fact, you going to see the highest? Let's go together, and I'll go talk to him, right? So, you know, Alex is like the new Tally to me, right? She's like the new Tally because she did mention that she knows Tally, and Tally was talking about Ruth to Ruth. So your girl, Alex, is like, listen, you go get my babies. You go get Olivia and Callie. And he's like, Callie? Yeah, or I'm going to tell the highest. Of course, River's like, damn. You know, because his big mouth, he didn't know that she was in the infirmary. So here goes River up to the highest. And highest is like, you ready for the day? He's like, yeah, I've been waiting for this all day. So they go to the punishment trailer. River opens the door, and Dikhan is looking on like, what the hell is going on? You know he don't really know what's going on ever, right? But he kind of knows. And River looks back at him like, yeah, you're going to find out. I'm about to go see. So here we are with Lewis and George again. And, you know, George is just so pissed off. He's like, F you. And Lewis is trying to beg. He's like, nah, we love you. You know, we'll listen to you. We'll do whatever it takes. You know, he's really trying to beg. George, he ain't trying to beg for nothing. He's just like cursing the highest out. And the highest is like, language, right? So, you know, he asked River, hey, River, should I forgive them, right? And River's just like, well, you know, it would be good to forgive them, but if it was me, if it was up to me, I would never forgive them. No. And Lewis is like, F you, River. And of course, George is upset about the whole thing. He's grunting and like trying to get out of those chains. And your boy, the highest, is on some like, yeah, well, it's all about sacrifice. You got to sacrifice your sausage. And he's like, what? Sacrifice what? What sacrifice? And your boy, the highest, goes over and chops off George's sausage. I'm like, oh my God. We see the red paint falling on the floor next to George's church socks. Lewis can't even look at it. He is chopping off George's sausage, and George is yelling out of he's yelling and yelling and yelling. This is the craziest episode, family. Oh my God, the highest is going in, chopping and chopping and chopping. He got a lot to chop, I guess. And River can't even look. Like, I can't even look. Like, this is so crazy. And George is screaming at the top of his lungs like, oh my God. There's nothing he could do. His hands are chained. The FBI, Kyle, Coolidge, they all hear what's going on. It's like, yo, that's somebody screaming. Kyle is like, yo, we going in. He's like, you sure? We need to check with Desiree. He's like, no, I'm in charge. Let's go. So all the FBI, they gear up and they go into the forest to go to the campus. Here we are with the highest with blood on his shirt. George is so, oh my God, he's in so much pain. He is just laid out. It's crazy, though. The highest is insane. This is an insane episode, family. And here we are. He's talking to Lewis, and he's like, listen, you know, 2 sausages, I'm not going to cut it off. What do you think I'm looking for? And then he takes this screwdriver and he plunges it into Lewis's eyes. Lewis is screaming like crazy. Oh my God. George can't even look at that. He turns away. This is insane. And he continues to take out not 1, but 2, an eye for 2 eyes. River's trying to look on, but he can't even look. This is crazy. Lewis is screaming, screaming. Here comes Coolidge and the rest of them. They're going through the forest, but somebody shoots at the FBI. Kyle is back there still with the cars like, what's going on? What's going on? It's an ambush. They shooting at us. They shooting at us. They shot down one of the soldiers, one of the FBI agents. He's on the ground. They're trying to carry him out. It's like, yo, fall back, fall back, fall back. So they falling back. Of course, you got the Raku soldiers. They're still out there and they're popping off at the FBI. This is crazy. One guy down. This was terrible. Kyle, you made a bad decision, buddy. You made a terrible decision. Didn't even discuss it with your boss. You are in big trouble, Kyle, because you messed up and lost a FBI agent. And here we are back at the Highest's trailer. And the Highest is just like geeked. He's just like, yeah. And River's like, man, I love that. Thank you for showing me the way. Thank you for showing me. And then River goes into saying how, I'm glad you showed me that. But, Dikhan, man, this is like the fourth or fifth person that Dikhan trusted. And he goes down the list of names. Oliver, Lilo, right? All of these people that was the right hand to Dikhan. And then he says, you know what? But Dikhan did save you. He did save you. I'm sure, he told you about talking to the FBI. And he's like, FBI? He's like, yeah. I overheard him talking to the FBI. I don't know what he said, but obviously it has to do something with you surrendering. He's like, what? I told Dikhan to tell me everything, to not hold anything back, right? So he sends your boy to go get Dikhan. Desiree is pissed off. She's like, what the F are you doing? What the F are you thinking? He's like, my bad. Kyle is just apologizing to Desiree. He's like, no, I'm not Desiree anymore. I'm your boss. And if you can't get with the program, then go the F home. Like, Desiree is pissed. And now that agent is in ICU, all because Kyle, yo dumbass, has made a stupid mistake trying to go up in there without talking to your boss. Here's Dikhan, and Dikhan's at the trailer. And your boy, the Highest, is like, listen, man, I entrusted you with everything. I called you the name Dikhan. I gave you that name because I trust you. But what is this about the FBI? And why didn't you tell me? He's like, well, it wasn't like that. And, he's like, were you talking to the FBI? He was like, yes. And again, he didn't get a chance to explain that he didn't really say anything to the FBI, but because he didn't tell the Highest, it still looks bad. And yes, River's just standing there. He was looking at River. He's don't look at River, look at me. He's like, I entrusted you with everything. I really, really trusted you, but I forgave you every single time you messed up, but I can't forgive you anymore. Oh my God, River, what did you do now? Did you just take away Dikhan's power at this very moment? And Dikhan is looking with his head down. He's like, it's not like that. He's like, why are you talking to the government? And you didn't tell me. I told you to tell me everything, no secrets. And now you know what to do. You know what to do. And Dikhan is looking so ashamed. He's looking at the Highest like, I can't believe it. So here we are at the pavilion. And he says, Dikhan, come in. Dikhan walks over with his head down. He says, take your clothes off. The Highest tells Dikhan to take all his clothes off. And he proceeds to take off his top, his bottom, take off his shoes. And he says, give it to River because I trust River. Man, this is a paradigm shift. River is looking on, smiling and smirking and everything. And he takes off his clothes and he gives it to River. What do you guys think about this paradigm shift, this moment in history, of Raku history, that Dikhan is stripped of his power? He is stripped of his power. And he tells Dikhan to go get a purple robe and get out of my sight. He gave up his power, and now River has his clothes, and River will be wearing the black outfit going forward. This is crazy, family. What do you think about this moment? What's going to happen next? We shall see in the next episode of Tyler Perry's Ruthless.